Welcome to Studio 10U. Our guest today should be walking down a very different road to the one that she's on now. She could have easily fallen into drug abuse, prostitution or lost her life, but she has conquered every terrible situation life has thrown at her and is now a resounding success.
It really is quite a story, and to help tell us all about it, please welcome Jo Lamble. Great to see you.
Thank you.
In this new year.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what we'll be hearing today.
Oh, Stacey's story has everything, and she's been on such a difficult road, but importantly, a really happy ending.
Well, we all can't wait to meet her, so let's take a look at some of Stacey's story now.
To describe Stacey Currie as a dynamic force of nature would be an understatement. She's a mum of 5 children, owns and runs an incredibly successful business, an inspirational speaker, and she's an author. Looking at her now, you could never imagine the experiences she's had to endure. The turmoil started almost as soon as she was born. At just 2 months old, her parents separated, and she was raised by her loving father, but with his carefree attitude, her childhood was almost totally free of rules and boundaries. Often she was in trouble at school, dabbled in drugs and alcohol, and by her late teens she had 2 children.
So I ended up begging a friend, so-called friend back then, if I could sleep on their floor. And so I slept on the floor with no mattress, just a blanket. And I had the baby on she was 4 months old and Josh was 3 or 4. And I had them on one of those fold-out lounges, you know, those cartoon character ones. So they slept on that and I just slept on the floor with a blanket.
With 2 young children, Stacey was essentially homeless. But it was around this time she decided she needed to change her life. Indeed, it was about to change, but not for the better. On a night out, she was sure she had met the man of her dreams. But from day one, it was clear it was going to be filled with nothing but nightmares.
And I was sitting on the lounge one day with my little baby in the bassinet and my little boy, and I was accused of smoking marijuana, which I hadn't had any marijuana at this stage. And he grabbed me by my legs and ripped me off the lounge. And I freaked, like I was so scared. And I remember that was the first thing that happened.
Almost daily, Stacey had to endure terror and fear. She was abducted, bashed, and constantly at the brunt of verbal abuse. It was an afternoon phone call from her young son's school that Stacey first realised the abuse wasn't just affecting her, but also the lives of her children, which now included a little boy that she had with her vicious partner.
So I get to the school and I'm taken into an office and I get told that Josh has just tried to hang himself. I think that was the cruncher for me, where I just thought, this is too big for me to deal with. I've dealt with a lot of things, but I can't deal with this one.
And Stacey Currie joins us now. What an extraordinary woman you are.
Oh, thank you.
My goodness, what you have gone through, but here you are, not only surviving, but thriving. So thank you so much. Let's welcome her.
Stacey, what affected you in that package just then? What really got to you?
Just talking about my son, I think, and going back to that tragic past. I mean, I don't live that now, but going back to that, for me, yeah,
How old
it's emotional.
was your son at that time?
8.
8, gosh.
Yeah, he was 8 years old. So,
Did he tell you why he wanted to take his life?
Oh, look, he used to say to me all the time, Mum, beg me to leave the partner. He'd beg me all the time, but I was just too wrapped up in my own life and obsessed with this man, so I didn't listen to my child. Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning, in that, you know, you were behind the 8 ball to start with. You virtually lost your mum soon after you were born, and you had a loving but overwhelmed father. And we know that those early months and years are so important to build that sense of security and stability. How on earth did you cope as a young girl, and especially a teenager, without a mum?
Oh, I had, well, because I didn't know any different, I guess I just didn't even acknowledge that it was an issue. I just plodded along in life, I think. I don't even think it affected me, but maybe it did. I'm not sure.
And that's a very common thing, not knowing that it's affecting you, but it is affecting you, and it's affecting the choices you make, because it's really common, again, without that a strong attachment to a mum, to then go and seek love anywhere, connection, and even be drawn to very unhealthy, toxic relationships. Now, this relationship with this very toxic man, he was delusionally jealous and very possessive. Did you think that was normal? Did you think that was love?
Oh, absolutely. I thought in the beginning when he used to get jealous, I actually felt so loved. To me, it actually made me feel good that he got so jealous, because it felt like he really loved me. So now that I'm with a man that isn't jealous, I look back and I just can't believe that I thought that was love. Yeah.
And I think it's really important that you tell our viewers this, Stacey, because a lot of people don't realise that. How on earth would she stay? But as you said, that felt good, and that's directly linked to the fact that, as I said, you're in search of that love and attachment. But that day changed it all, didn't it, when you got the call from school and you were making the assumption that your children were too young to be affected by what was going on?
Well, that actually wasn't the cruncher. It was my little baby ended up being physically injured by this man, and the DHS, he ended up in the Royal Children's Hospital.
Goodness. So
the DHS gave me two choices that night, and that was I had to change my life or lose my kids, and that 3 of them were going to go to foster care this night, or I could change my life and keep my kids. And
How
I was
many
12,
children do you have? 2 or 3?
5.
You've got 5 children?
Yeah, but I had 3. I've got a really nice man now.
Right. Hey, you've been a busy girl.
Yeah, but yeah, the DHS gave me 2 choices, and they said change your life, and I was shocked. I was on the floor saying, you know, I didn't know this other life that they wanted me to change, but in order for me to change it, I had to keep my kids. So I was like, how do I find this new life?
And Stacey, we will hear about how you did manage to turn your life around right after the break, and you're not going to want to miss it on this Studio 10U. See you soon.
Welcome back. You're watching Studio 10U. Stacey Currie is a woman who has lived through experiences that many of us couldn't even imagine. There's been family breakdown, sexual abuse, teen pregnancy and attempted suicide. But she's here today to show other women that there is a way out and there is a better life for you. That's true, isn't it, Jo?
It is. And Stacey, it sounds like that night when you had to make that really difficult choice, that there was a moment where you did think, wow, I have to give up somebody that you thought you loved for the sake of your children, which I think all mothers can relate to. They come first. How did you escape? How did you get away?
Well, I was court ordered for 12 weeks to see a counsellor, and I think that empowered me because I started to learn about the cycle of domestic violence. And then what happened is all these positive things started to happen. So my self-esteem started to grow and my confidence started to grow, and then I started to build this business that I had no idea about, and it became the positive. The addiction was a positive one instead of the violence and the negative energy that I had.
So for those 12 weeks you didn't see this guy at all?
No, I wasn't allowed to.
Oh, good. And then have you seen him since?
Yeah. I actually went back after that 12 weeks. But what I learnt is the cycle of domestic violence. So I felt so powerful when I saw that, you know, the build-up was coming. I knew to get out because the explosion was near. So I educated myself on that.
That's great. And you also learnt during that time the effect it was having on your children, and it sounds like that was the major incentive for you.
Yes. I then went with the counsellor and educated myself on the effects domestic violence has on the developing brain of a child. So I've been really studying, you know, the brain cells disconnection and being able to do the counter-intuitive approach with my children, because parents don't realise that it actually affects the kids so much. And I've had to do a lot of work to reconnect my children's, you know, and they're 19 and 13, so they're older.
And very quickly, you're in another relationship now,
yes.
A happy relationship.
Yes.
Yes. How did you meet?
I met him at work, and I'd done so much work on myself, and I attracted someone positive because I was feeling positive.
And you can see that oozing out of you,
Oh,
Stacey.
yes.
You sparkle and you are happy. I mean, you mentioned earlier in the break. You do.
Thank you.
But there was that difference between your life previously and your life now.
Oh, I just look at my life now and just simple things. Like at the beach, I see my 19-year-old and my 13-year-old who had such trauma in their life, and I watch them and I just go, wow, they're living normal, beautiful lives. And my little kids now, they're not witness to violence or anything, and watching their milestones that I never saw with my first three is just...
It's a lovely
I love it.
And a quick final thought,
The message that, Stacey, you're just making loud and clear is that no matter anyone watching who is in a really difficult situation feels trapped, there is a way out, and often we don't do it for ourselves, but we do it for our children. And you have done it for your children, and what a gift you've given them. And thank you for coming.
And look at you.
Thank you.
And Stacey, not only have you done it for your children, but you've done it for a lot of other women out there who are in a place thinking, what do I do?
Yeah.
Where is the way out? Is there hope ahead? And very much you
Oh,
have
there
shown
is,
us
absolutely.
that. So Stacey Currie, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
of
you.
your story with us today. And Jo Lamble, great to have you back, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for your advice and wisdom as always.
Please remember that there's help out there if you need it. Do an internet search with the words domestic violence and the state you live in.